Candace Owens is in trouble. The president of France has sued her for defamation because she called his wife a man. We're going to go through the case this week on Wolves in Finance. I'm going to start with my opinion on the case. If Candace Owens receives a fair trial, she will win this case. But that is a big if. If Candace Owens does not receive a fair trial, she's going to lose. We have seen so many examples in the last few years of court cases in America with obviously biased outcomes and unfair results. I've covered many of them on this channel. In 2023, Donald Trump was found liable for defamation against E. Jean Carroll and ordered to pay $83.3 million in damages. E. Jean Carroll had accused Donald Trump of raping her. The jury in the case found that Donald Trump did not rape E. Jean Carroll, but for some reason, he was still found liable for defamation for something he apparently did not do. Anyone looking at this case can logically see it is a ridiculous result. This was clearly an unfair trial, and there are many more recent examples like this in America. This is my point. If Candace Owens receives an unfair trial, just like Donald Trump did, she's going to lose, even if she is innocent. What has happened so far is the president of France, Emmanuel Macron, and his wife, Brigitte Macron, have filed a legal complaint. We are now waiting for Candace to file her legal response. So until that document gets released, we only have half the story. But I'm going to break down some of the major points so far. I want to start with the problems for Candace Owens. I cannot talk about this case without first talking about anti-Semitism. It is going to be a major part of this case. There are a lot of examples of Candace Owens showing anti-Semitism. Now, I know that she will go on her show and deny all these accusations, but we have all seen her statements. Less than 1 month after the horrible attacks on Israel on October 7th, 2023, Candace Owens posted this: "No government anywhere has a right to commit genocide ever. There is no justification for a genocide. I can't believe this even needs to be said or is even considered the least bit controversial to state." Now, Candace never specifically mentions Israel in this tweet, but it is pretty clear that she's talking about Israel. And ever since this tweet, she's been a strong voice calling Israel's actions a genocide. This caused major arguments with Ben Shapiro at the time, which caused her to leave the Daily Wire, which is where she used to work. Just to share where I am coming from, I am a Christian, but I strongly support Israel. I am very much aligned with Donald Trump and Mike Huckabee and most conservatives when it comes to Israel and thinking that they are an important ally for the United States and we should support them. Now, it would be one thing if Candace was just criticizing certain Israeli policies, but it goes much further than that. We are all aware that she is close personal friends with Kanye West, now known as Ye. Ye is clearly anti-Semitic and says things like this.
I like Hitler.
I don't like Hitler. And I know you're trying to be shocking with that.
I'm not trying to be shocking. I like Hitler. I do not. The Holocaust is not what happened. Let's look at the facts of that. And Hitler has a lot of redeeming qualities.
Ye then released a song called Heil Hitler. Right after Ye released his song, Candace goes on her show and says this.
And of course, Ye dropped a new song while I was gone. And that is putting it mildly. And I'm very disappointed in how catchy the tune is. Really, I find myself just humming along.
So her friend releases a song called Heil Hitler, and Candace says that she's humming along. I'm sorry, Candace, but that is anti-Semitism. It's not attractive, and it is wrong. The reason this is all important is it is written all throughout the legal complaint. They claim that Candace Owens is anti-Semitic. Let's look at the theory that Candace Owens suggested on her show. Number one, Brigitte illegally groomed Emmanuel Macron when he was underage. 2. Brigitte was born a biological man. 3. Brigitte is secretly related to Emmanuel Macron and they practiced incest. 4. Brigitte and Emmanuel Macron are secretly related to the Jewish Rothschild family and they were installed in power as a secret plot to take over the world. This fourth point is where Candace loses most people. This fourth point is anti-Semitism. In my opinion, if Brigitte is actually a man, that's a big enough scandal. Why do you have to bring the Jews into it? Why can't we just focus on the first 3 issues? Whether or not Candace Owens thinks this is anti-Semitism, it will be a massive part of this case. It is already in the complaint, and the opposing lawyers are going to use every opportunity to accuse Candace Owens of anti-Semitism in front of the judge and in front of the jury. It's not going to make her look very good. What is Candace Owens going to do if the judge she gets is Jewish? Judges are supposed to remain impartial, but let's be real. These types of things impact how judges make decisions. The other problem Candace Owens faces is the legal complaint contains very sneaky language. The legal complaint states, "The statements by Candace Owens are categorically and demonstrably false. Mrs. Macron was born a woman named Brigitte Tragneau." I want you to take a look at this statement. Do you see how this is sneaky language? It does not say that Brigitte was born a biological woman. It just says that she was born a woman. Now, if Brigitte's definition of a woman is a biological man who thinks they are a woman, then they can make this statement without it being a lie. But it is very strange that in a 219-page legal complaint about the biological sex of Brigitte Macron, it never explicitly states that Brigitte is a biological woman. Isn't that strange? It only states that Brigitte is a woman. Why is that? Why will they not state, for the record, that Brigitte was born a biological woman? The legal complaint tries to get around this by referencing a previous letter they sent to Candace Owens. The December retraction demand, the letter, explicitly stated that Mrs. Macron is the biological mother of her 3 children, proving that she was born as a woman. Once again, they do not state that Brigitte was born a biological woman. They do not provide any proof that Brigitte is a biological woman. The only proof they provide is a letter that they wrote claiming that Brigitte was the biological mother of the children. They never addressed the possibility that Brigitte could be the parent of those children as a man. This is very strange and sneaky language and highlights what is going to become the central issue of this case. Candace Owens is going to have to answer the question, what is a woman? We cannot tell whether or not Brigitte Macron is lying about being a woman unless we can define what a woman is. How is Candace Owens going to do that? If they put Candace on the witness stand and ask her the question, what is a woman? How is she going to answer that question? Our own top legal minds cannot answer that question. Just as a reminder, this is our own Supreme Court justice when she was asked that question.
Can you provide a definition for the word woman?
Can I provide a definition? No.
Yeah.
I can't.
You can't?
Not in this context.
So
I'm not a biologist.
The meaning of the word woman is so unclear and controversial that you can't give me a definition?
Senator, in my work as a judge, what I do is I address disputes. If there's a dispute about a definition, people make arguments, and I look at the law and I decide.
Well,
so I'm not.
The fact that you can't give me a straight answer about something as fundamental as what a woman is underscores the dangers of the kind of progressive education that we are hearing about.
Our own Supreme Court judge does not know what a woman is. How is Candace Owens supposed to win this case when the whole case is based on answering the question, what is a woman? What this seems like to me is someone from France is telling an American they have to use their preferred pronouns. I find that outrageous. So those are a couple of the hurdles that Candace Owens faces in this trial. Let me talk about some of the things in her favor. The attorney for the president of France and his wife is someone named Tom Clare. In my opinion, Tom Clare is not a good enough lawyer to win this case in court. A lot of people are singing his praises and pointing to the fact that he represented Dominion in their defamation lawsuit against Fox News. In that case, Fox News settled for $787 million. Now that sounds impressive, but here is Alan Dershowitz explaining why Fox News should not have settled that case.
I think that Fox did a disservice to the American people by settling the case. And I think there's going to be a lot of self-censorship involved. And the Tucker Carlson may, we're not sure, be an example of self-censorship, of not wanting to incur the $750 million of a gift to Dominion. And it was a gift. Dominion didn't suffer. It wasn't hurt. Its bottom line went up. It made up the argument about all that money. And it was essentially a case that was won, I'm not using the term technically, but on extortion. Basically, what Dominion is saying, and they're saying it to others as well, is unless you pay us money, we're going to expose all your secrets. We're going to get all your emails. We're going to embarrass you, and we're going to find fault with your journalism. And so a lot of the media will capitulate.
What he is saying is that in these large corporate lawsuits, there are many different reasons why a company would settle. It would be a mistake to suggest that the Fox News lawsuit is proof that Tom Clare is a good lawyer. It doesn't mean that Tom Clare would have been able to win that case. I want to show you an example that Tom Clare is not as good of a lawyer as people think he is.
Over the past year, when we have put this information directly in front of her, even if you want to give her a pass for the early crazy stuff that she said, after we put facts and information in front of her, black and white, multiple times.
What? Like her, the first lady's birth certificate? Like what kind of facts?
Yeah, we have laid out extensive evidence in our complaint demonstrating that she was born a woman, she's always been a woman.
This lawyer is asked point blank what kind of facts he has laid out to dispute the claims by Candace Owens. Did you notice? He could not respond with a single fact. Not one single fact to back up his claim. Instead, he says, we have extensive evidence in our complaint. What evidence? I read the complaint. There is no compelling evidence in there. They did not even say the statement that Brigitte was born a biological woman. I think this interview is evidence that this lawyer is an idiot. The legal process itself favors Candace Owens. Both parties have equal rights in discovery to ask questions and request documents. In my opinion, the Macrons were absolutely stupid to file this lawsuit. Normally, if you're any kind of political leader, if a reporter is out there bugging you about something you don't like, do you know what you can do? You can ignore them. They have no power over you. But what they have done with this lawsuit is give Candace Owens power over their lives. This lawsuit is probably going to go on for the next 10 years. Why in the world would anyone give Candace Owens power over their life for the next 10 years? Now, whenever Candace Owens asks them a question, they have to respond. If they don't want to respond, they have to give a reason why, and then the judge will weigh in and decide if he's going to force them to respond. Every single question. Why are they giving this power to Candace Owens? They are so stupid. The legal process favors Candace Owens. If the Macrons are hiding anything, Candace just has to wait for them to make a mistake and catch them in a lie. She can go through the legal process year after year after year, and eventually I think the Macrons are going to make a mistake that could win Candace the case. Now, of course, this whole issue would be quickly resolved if the President of France and his wife would just submit to a DNA test. A simple cotton swab inside their cheek would reveal the answer if Brigitte Macron is actually a biological man, and whether Emmanuel Macron is related to Brigitte, which would be incest. A DNA test would resolve the entire case. Now, I am guessing that Candace Owens is going to request a DNA test. I am also guessing that Emmanuel and Brigitte Macron are going to refuse and claim it is too invasive. I do not think that a judge is going to force them to take a DNA test for a civil court defamation case. So we're going to be at a stalemate. But the fact that they would refuse a simple test that would resolve the case tells us everything. It makes them look like a bunch of liars. You are telling me that you want us to believe that the Macrons are telling us the truth, but at the same time, they would not take a simple test that would prove whether or not they are telling the truth. Right. That sounds to me like a bunch of liars, and I think the jury will think the same thing. I think one of the biggest problems for the Macrons is with the complaint itself. Now, I do not know all the details of the case, but when I read through it, it looks to me like there are several statements in the legal document that are complete lies. Lies that are very easy to disprove. For example, she, Candace Owens, launched a revamped website, CandaceOwens.com, fueled by her desire to make these specific false claims about the Macrons without adhering to content moderation policies. They are claiming that Candace Owens is defaming to try and make money on her website. This is an absolute lie. I can go to YouTube right now and show you the whole playlist of all the videos for free. It's not even difficult to disprove their statement as a lie. I have a feeling there's a whole bunch more lies just like this throughout the 219-page complaint. This is a massive problem for the Macrons. In the American legal system, if you lie in a legal document, you can get in big trouble. In some situations, it is criminal. You can go to jail for lying to the court. If there are lies in their legal complaint, and Candace Owens can prove that, she can win the entire case on that point alone, without even having to argue the merits of the case. She can win before it even gets started. The biggest thing that Candace Owens has going for her is the evidence is in her favor. This is a photo of Brigitte Macron next to an older photograph of a man, Jean-Michel Trogneau. It looks to me like they are the same person. Candace Owens is saying that Brigitte Macron was born this man and then transitioned to a woman. So Candace Owens has pretty convincing photographic evidence to back up her statements. Here's another photo, and I don't even know if Candace knows about this one. This is Brigitte Macron at a press event. This photo is posted right now on the website of the French magazine Gala. It is pretty obvious there is a bulge in Brigitte's crotch. Can anyone else see this? That certainly looks like a bulge to me. Here's another photo. Why are there all these photos of Brigitte where there is a bulge in the crotch? Is that normal? I feel that's not normal for biological women. It seems pretty obvious that Brigitte is a biological man. This is only a small portion of the evidence behind Candace's claims. Her YouTube series alone is hours upon hours explaining the evidence, and she didn't even cover everything. There is so much evidence supporting the claim that Brigitte Macron was born a biological man. The implications of this are huge, potentially criminal. If it is true that Emmanuel Macron was underage when he was groomed, that is criminal. If it is true that the couple went through an illegal gay marriage in 2007 before gay marriage was legal in France in 2013, that is illegal. If they committed fraud by lying about Brigitte's past on documents, that is illegal. If they misappropriated government funds by funding a first lady's lifestyle when they were not legally married, that is criminal. This is not just gossip about Brigitte's sex. Candace Owens is presenting evidence of serious crimes. Finally, the legal standard for a politician to prove defamation is very high and very hard to prove. On top of this, American journalists have constitutionally protected freedom of the press. It is a journalist's job to make fun of politicians. So the legal standard for the Macrons to meet in this case is enormous. I don't think they proved their case in this legal complaint. So we will have to see if they present better evidence during the trial. I think these examples back up the opinion I gave earlier. If Candace Owens receives a fair trial, she will win this case. But if Candace Owens does not receive a fair trial, she is going to lose. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think Candace Owens is right? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you like this video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on future videos. Quick update on the channel. My video last week on Obama got demonetized again by YouTube. I don't know why YouTube is trying to suppress this information on Obama. When I made videos criticizing Donald Trump, YouTube had no problem with that. Why do they suddenly have a problem now? I want to give a big thank you to my channel members because your support for $6 a month is what helps me to keep making these videos, even when I get demonetized. If you find my videos helpful, consider signing up for a membership on my website, wolvesandfinance.com. Thank you to everyone who has signed up. I'm Zach from Wolves and Finance. Thank you for watching.